Good morning, all. This is Sarah Palmer at the Kensington Library,
I'm Linda Yao from Northeast Regional.
and we're here for another session of Toshokan FLP.
This time we're talking about Japan,
Mhm.
the land of otaku anime manga mecca. Oh, I haven't, right? Well, it's the pilgrimage that I
Yeah.
remember. That any anime manga fan who loves Japanese culture would just make a trip to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I happened to go 3 times already in my life.
You lucky person. I have not gone yet. It is indeed my dream to go someday.
So I figure I was gonna also give like a background briefing of tips if you guys ever plan to go, even though currently we're in COVID, and of course there is travel restrictions across the board, and even the Olympics is in doubt because they're supposed to have the Tokyo Olympics this year. That got pushed to next year, and it might end up getting pushed or canceled again, which really sucks because I really wanted Tokyo Olympics to happen. So I should mention the last time I went to Japan was 2018. It was 2 years ago. Mostly it was because of a trip of Kamiket and a trip of origami. But I do have a lot of tips because since I gone 3 different times, and I figure I might as well give some tips, like in-person tips about travel to Japan, and also Sarah can chime in about various aspects. Upon going to Japan, you have to be aware that Japanese culture is it's very much a cash-based society. So you better, even before you go, you better check how much US dollars is to the Japanese yen. And then when you do not go and exchange your dollars at the bank here, because they'll pretty much take you for all you're worth, right? Notify your credit card company, notify your bank company, your bank and your credit card, also that you are traveling. Otherwise, they'll hold on to your account. And make sure that when you get to the Narita airport, which is the airport that is in Tokyo, right? International airport, right? Make sure you use their ATMs to get Japanese currency.
One thing to mention is that that's good advice not only for going to Japan, but for going to any foreign country or any country abroad, is that you need to notify your credit card and bank companies, and the ATMs are frequently available for you to use.
Also, okay, so also depends on what your company is. Discover might not work, but Visa and MasterCard are good safe bets to actually be able to do foreign exchanges. Also be aware that you have to budget. I'm not kidding. You have to budget, because trips to Japan can easily run up to $5,000 or more. I think my first time I went to Japan, it was 12,000 because I was shopping too much.
Yeah. So you're talking about the overall price, not just the flight.
Not just the price. It also depends on the time of the year that you're going to be traveling to, because on average it's about maybe 1,300 to 1,500 for airline tickets. However, last time I made it out like a bandit. My airplane ticket was under 1,000. I was so happy.
Yeah.
So I've had friends who have gotten much more better rates to travel. All right. So also another thing, ATMs, you could easily find ATMs in 7-Elevens and post offices in Japan. All right. But I believe that Japan is also going into more cashless space. So I remember that iPhone, the money with your iPhone app, you could actually use that as a way to cashless pay also. Because I think
it's also true with Android.
And so once you get to Tokyo, you would be coming off to a lot of trains, lots of trains. If you want, I could share. I could definitely share what I look at. Let's see. Let
Yeah,
me give
please.
you an idea of what the basis of the Tokyo JR, the
Uh-huh.
rare subway things, all right? It looks like this.
Oh my.
Doesn't this look fun? I shared it yesterday with my LAs and they were like, okay,
Yeah.
Miss Librarian, this is amazing, but it's so confusing.
Yeah, and this represents a lot of different companies, right? It's not just
It
one SEPTA or whatever.
It's not, but it's JR. JR is the conglomerate,
I
and
see.
it's like but the thing is that JR also encompasses other things like, but the thing is that one thing is not mentioned here is the Tokyo Metro, all right? This is only JR, right?
Mhm.
JR, Tokyo Metro is the subway underneath it.
Oh,
So I think of this like like a Philadelphia regional rail plus the elevated train plus New York City transportation plus Chicago's train station plus San Francisco's train station all mashed into one. I don't know what
wow.
I'm trying to say it.
But
Um,
but this does not reflect Tokyo Metro, you say. So
it does
the
not
subways are
reflect
not
Tokyo
there.
Metro.
Wow.
Mhm. Tokyo Metro is even, it's like underneath the ground. This is like overhead.
Hmm.
Um, and this is not Shinkansen, by the way. This is not bullet train. This is not the Japanese bullet train. This is just in Tokyo. So I would direct your attention to this area in
Hmm.
the middle. This is the Yamanote line. If you see the green part, this is the Yamanote line. And this is the one where every anime manga fan should be aware of. Your first time going to Japan is probably going to be centered around here, unless if you want to go to other cities. But I would definitely say Yamanote line is your friend. I'm not kidding. It would be your friend. It's like where you see, where you hear about Japanese culture, Akihabara, Ikebukuro, Shinjuku, Harajuku. All of the above is like
Yeah.
very conveniently accessed by Yamanote line. You could also actually ride it around and around. And so I've done that before, and it's really fun because you get every single station you go, it has a Django, and it's really easy to go on and listen to the Jangles the entire day. I did that a couple of times. Um, so let me see. So I was gonna say we should actually. I was making a lot of different things. So Shinkansen is So, oh, by the way, when you get to Japan, you get yourself a Suica card. A Suica card is kind of like it's a Japanese. It's kind of like our SEPTA card. You could put cash onto it, all right?
Mhm.
And from there, you could actually transfer back and forth between Tokyo Metro and JR. So
Mhm.
that's the thing. JR, by the way, also goes out to other parts of Japan.
Mhm.
So so you might be good with buying a JR pass. The JR pass allows you to go on the JR lines and go to other parts of Japan. That's how
Mhm.
I was able to go to Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, and all the above. All
Yeah.
right. So one thing I definitely do have to also mention is, so as I was saying, JR, this is JR line, Yamanote line, right?
Mhm.
Let me just check. If you see, so then this is it. This is it. And so Shinkansen is you could actually go and buy tickets. You don't have to buy tickets abroad. You could just go when you're in Japan. You could just go to the ticket office and buy it. English is commonly understood, commonly, but a large part of it might not be understood. If you're talking with locals, make sure you brush up on your Japanese before you even go. Make sure you have some basic essentials, travel etiquettes, and all that stuff. Another thing is amazing thing is that in Japan they have what a service known as takuhaibin, which is if you're packing that much luggage, I would often say travel light as you can. Travel with an empty suitcase.
Mhm.
But one thing is that you could have takuhaibin, which is a luggage forwarding service, which is just amazing. We don't even have that in the United States, and I miss that a lot. Whenever I'm traveling back and forth from New York, I wish that I could actually have people to just mail my luggage to be mailed back and forth. That would be so nice.
So mailed in the sense of door to door. There it says door to door. Yeah.
It mails to door, and it's also from hotel to hotel. If
Uh-huh.
you're going, because on the Shinkansen, right, which is the
Yes.
bullet train, right, there's no place to put your luggage. I'm not kidding.
Uh-huh.
Do not even try to put your thing onto the luggage because it is going to be packed, packed, and packed. Although I don't know if COVID actually changed some things, but the times I've gone on, it was very, very packed, and you were thrown like annoyed, like you were thrown looks if you had a humongous amount of luggage with you. There
Mhm.
will be no space. So another thing, I was actually giving a lot of information about this, all right? So, one thing about Japan is that even if you can't squash your luggage onto the cart, right? They have an amazing system of coin luggage. Coin luggage is great because if you're trying to shop in an area like Akihabara, Harajuku, you don't want to carry everything in your hand. You are also walking a lot. I'm not kidding, you will walk a lot. And so at every Japanese stations, JR stations, right? They will have coin lockers. You could store your stuff there. On the bottom, there's like luggages. On the top, it's like smaller parcels of here and there for depending on what baggage size you want to shove in. I've done it. It was when I was in Comiket. It was so nice to actually have coin lockers available. I remember when I was in Kyoto, I wasn't aware of coin lockers. So I had my overnight bag and I was walking all around Kyoto with that. That was not fun at all. Another is we should actually talk about capsule hotels. Capsule hotels
Yeah.
are kind of like overnight stay. So in Japan, their train system goes only until 11:30 and there's no trains until the next day at 5 something, right? So if you're actually working over and you actually miss your last train, capsule hotels are temporary stay, like they charge by the night for you to stay at if you want to have a place to sit or sleep or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Capsule hotels are better than manga cafes. Manga cafes are better than karaoke places, all right? All those places are 24 hours, all right?
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID. I'm talking about pre-COVID times, all right?
Yeah.
So capsule hotels, oh, by the way, capsule hotels are also very gendered, all right? You cannot, if you are female, you cannot go to a hotel where it's men only because when capsule hotels began, it was only meant for the Japanese businessman. And it's only until recently, like within the last 10 years or so, or 5 years or so, that they started introducing capsule hotels for females.
Oh,
I would
wow.
say
And that's going to make stuff hard for non-binary people.
it's about $30 a night. It's sanhyaku yen, so it's like 3,000 yen.
Yeah.
So it's about $30 a night, depending on which one you want to stay at. These are the traditional ways of looking at a capsule hotel, right? Kind of like if you ever seen The Fifth Element. Fifth Element, they had something like that. I don't know. Fifth Element with the Bruce Willis movie, that might be something else also.
Yeah.
Might be something else also. Let's see. Let me start to just
So basically, the capsule is just you and the futon or whatever, and then the bathrooms and things like that are shared, right?
So so capsule hotel chains, right, are 9H first class, or as I mentioned before, that they're female specific. So there is a location in Akihabara that's also meant for female only capsule hotels, all right? 9 hours is a chain. First class is a chain. Akihabara Bay Hotel is a female friendly capsule hotel in Akihabara, which is normally seen as the otaku heaven. So what else is there's also, by the way, I don't know if you're interested, there's also an amazing amount of themed hotels in Japan. Did you know that you could go to a hotel room that's Godzilla themed, Muji themed, bookstore themed, and even bookstore themes, and mostly because Japan is such a literary society. Then there's also dinosaurs hana, so it's like garden kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh.
Hen or like something like that. So this is like kind of because when you're in hotels, right?
Yeah.
The Japanese hotels, right? They're so cramped. They're so small. So you have to have a way to actually try and engage with the people who are paying you
Yeah.
a lot of money to go in there to stay.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. Hello Kitty fanatics.
Oh, good God.
Yep. You could actually have weddings in Hello Kitty stuff. They have an amusement park.
Oh my. Well, that's
So,
pretty.
so also another thing is, I don't know if you guys know what Muji is. Muji is a lifestyle store that they have in New York, right? Have you heard about them? Muji stationery, Muji food branding and all that stuff. MUJI. They have a hotel. They opened it in Shinjuku.
Yeah.
Last time I heard. I mostly stayed at either a friend's place or I stayed at my first 2 times I stayed at friends' places. I stayed at a hostel, and last trip I stayed at 2 different types of capsule hotels. So also there is another thing where it's a cat hotel. Was this what you shared?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so cute.
Yeah, you can look right out on the cat cafe.
So this is like if you're allergic to cats.
That's
This
true.
is good if you're allergic to cats, is good.
So you can appreciate the cats without having the dander.
Yes, you will. You won't have that situation. Plus, maybe the cats might be socially accepting of you instead of just running away, as I've seen. There's also a cat island in Japan.
Yes. Oh, I forget what it's called, but yeah, a small island with more cats than humans.
Yep. Also, by the way, going back to the fact that when you're traveling in Japan, right? Make sure you get a pocket Wi-Fi router. I'm not kidding. This is so helpful. You are going to get lost. Japan is so condensely packed. Without Google Maps, I'm not kidding, you will get lost. The first 2 times I went to Japan, I didn't have Google Maps at all. I was mostly carrying a paper atlas with me.
Oh, what a mess.
And so this time I went to Japan, I actually got a pocket Wi-Fi router. And of course, I had a lot of battery banks to try and not to get my battery because so it doesn't run out of battery. And I do recommend so you could rent a pocket Wi-Fi before you go to Japan. You could actually pick it up at the airport, and you could also drop it off at the airport because they have a post office there.
That's very handy.
So in a way, tips of budgeting, right? To go to Japan, right? Budget before, buy certain tickets before you go. Buy certain tickets like JR Rail Pass. JR Rail Pass you cannot buy when you're in Japan. You have to buy it out of the country because they will recognize you as a tourist. It does not, if you live in Japan, you do not get that benefit. JR Rail Pass is kind of like unlimited Metro card.
Yeah. Wow, that's very cool.
So
about the Wi-Fi router, is it different from a hotspot?
It actually allows you to create a hotspot with your phone. Like it's actually a portable hotspot. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's a portable hotspot.
Yeah.
Because in Japan, their mobile function is so nice, you will not get data choked.
Yeah.
Although right now they do have some data chokes.
Yeah.
So another thing I really want to bring up is the convenience stores in Japan. There is that would make Wawa and 7-Eleven in New York in the United States really cry. I'm crying also because I miss this a lot.
Yeah.
So convenience stores are a great thing in Japan. They are so helpful. They have bathrooms there. They have all you can daily goods. They have like food options there, lunch options there, drinks options there. And there's cheap. It's kind of cheap. It's slightly cheap, but it's not the cheapest that you get it because it does. One thing about Japan is there's a lot of vending machines. So not just convenience, there's also lots and lots of vending machines. So the three big gigantic main convenience stores are 7-Eleven, Lawson, and Family Mart, all right?
Mhm.
So people could just go here and it's 24 hours, all right?
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, you could get your ATM money there. But just know that you could only get money there. You cannot deposit money. If you're a tourist, you cannot deposit money. You could only get money.
Interesting.
So I still have some Japanese money because I over budgeted and I just went and grabbed more cash than I needed. So whenever you see a lot of stuff about Japanese anime, they talk about convenience stores. Everyone talks about convenience stores.
Or konbini, as it.
Konbini.
Karage-kun.
I love this one. I could definitely say that this is really juicy chicken. I love this one. This is like lunch for certain days I went there. They also have onigiri. I don't know if you know.
I love onigiri.
They have so much different types of onigiri, and they have bentos. So everything that gets charged overpriced here, you could buy cheap in Japan.
How nice.
So let's see. Another place I could definitely recommend you to do is go to Don Quixote. Donkey is Donkey, sorry. Not Don Quixote. Donkey is it's a 24-hour store where you could buy like cheap foods, all your tourist goods, all your Kit Kat flavors, because it's a gigantic kind of like wholesale. I think it's a wholesale store.
Sort of like a Costco.
It's kind of like that. It's also pharmacy, cosmetics, foods. You could, and it's 24 hours. You don't have to wait for it to open or not open. All right. And so this is relatively helpful. This actually shows you all the locations that Donkey is in Japan.
Huh.
They have a lot of different locations.
And Hawaii and California have it too.
Yeah, they do. And so let's see what else. Be aware of hours of operation. I'm not kidding. I gone to places where I was so excited. I got there 8 o'clock in the morning to realize that they only open at 10.
Oh.
So I literally had to wait for 2 hours. Or otherwise, I got there at 10 and then I had to wait until 12 o'clock because that's when they opened.
Oh no.
So another thing is, so I'm going to start talking about the different places that you could actually go buy, grab, or neighborhoods. Sorry, I meant neighborhoods. All these are different neighborhoods, all right? It's kind of like Center City, kind of like Fishtown, kind of like Passyunk. So it's kind of pockets, like in Philadelphia. So Ikebukuro is the place where you would actually, if you're a female fan with manga, BL, everything, you would definitely go to Otome Road.
Yes.
That is in Ikebukuro, next to Sunshine City. Sunshine City is another mall that you can go into. But this is a 3-4 block radius that talks about different different used bookstores, different butler cafes, different anime bookstores, anime settings that you could talk about. Whenever you mention about in past episodes, Sarah and I, we talked about dojinshis, right? This is where you would be able to buy BL themed dojins, because this is the largest collection of BL things that you get. But in the recent years, I saw is that they opened more and more cosplay selling themed stores. Also is that their themes cafe is like a butler cafe. So I do recommend Swallowtail. I have friends who've gone to Swallowtail, but it's really expensive. Not expensive, but it's really popular. So you may or may not have time to go, like, because all the time slots are taken. So this is where Otome Road is where you actually have the most cosplays as females. You're normally not allowed to also cosplay during like, as you can see, they normally don't cosplay. Normally, they would often have cosplayers. You would often see have suitcases with them, and so that's why they are usually either around, like pushing the suitcase around, or they're leaving their suitcase at coin lockers.
Yeah,
isn't that convenient?
Yes, it is.
And so this is Sunshine. This is the gate that actually connects Sunshine City to Otome Road. Otome Road is like there's a pass, there's a highway. You have to actually go under a highway to go from the main stretch of Ikebukuro to Otome Road. All right.
Mhm.
That that doesn't that sounds but other than that, Ikebukuro as a neighborhood is also very interesting to go to. Because this owl is in the subway itself, but they also do have like temples around the area, and it also has, so you see about this one, right? This is the map, right? So Otome Road is around this area, all right? Sunshine City beyond.
Mhm.
So also this place has my favorite dessert place in the world, Milky Way. It's called Milky Way. It's a Japanese parfait place. Have you ever
No.
had a parfait? Parfaits in America is usually seen as a breakfast thing. They would have cereals and stuff like that. But because Milky
Oh.
Way has Japanese parfaits, it has a horoscope theme. So it's the cake, the parfaits are all made out of fruit
Ooh.
and cream and Pocky sticks shoved out of it. So
Sounds really good.
yep.
Are there a lot of crepe stands?
Yes, there's also a lot of crepe places. I definitely do recommend. You would see it because they all have the plastic food stuff.
Yeah.
Crepes, takoyaki, taiyaki, the one with the fish.
Yeah.
That's taiyaki. Takoyaki is the octopus balls.
Yeah.
They have so much stores about that.
When you say taiyaki is the one with the fish, taiyaki are pastries shaped like fish.
Pastries shaped like fish with a filling inside. I've actually had different types of filling in there, like Italian flavored. There's a German flavored. But of course, Japan has a different way of looking at foreign people.
Yeah.
So when you go there, you'll see they have a different way of looking at. They kind of they have a symbiosis culture where they take everything and adapt it for their own.
Mm-hmm. True, so places like McDonald's too.
McDonald's, yeah. Oh my God.
Kit Kats.
Yeah, Kit Kats are McDonald's and with Pepsi.
Oh, really?
Pepsi actually has a couple of different unique flavors that is seasonal. Everything is seasonal in Japan. Once you pass the season, unless if it's good, they will not sell it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or they release it every year, but only with a new set of designer goods. So let me see. Another is, right now I'm going into Akihabara. Everyone wants to go to Akihabara, I think. Mm-hmm. It's also known as Electric City.
Right.
Because of all the used electronic goods that they have there.
Yeah.
But I also...
Is it also known for things like figures, collectible figures like Gundams and whatnot?
But you could also get that in any other store in other neighborhoods in Japan, not just Akihabara. Akihabara, what they're known for is AKB48. They started AKB48 actually started in Akihabara.
Is it a girl band?
It's a girl band, yeah. And they're also known for everyone in kind of otaku. The idea of what otaku is, the idea started from this neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, with the nerdy look, the glasses, and the whole in your staying home with the t-shirts. That it's interesting. But I also do have to mention one thing. In Japan, otaku and fujoshi are seen as not normal. They're not the normal Japanese, even though anime and manga it permeates the entire culture of Japan. If you're obsessed with it and you reflect that in your life, right? Japanese society will not look well on you. You will be seen as a a weird person. So also one thing I do have to mention is that in Japanese society, manga reading is very gender stratified. Meaning a lot of what we would read in America, like Shonen Jump, a lot of like all those boy Shonen Sundays and all that stuff, that's seen only as a boy activity.
Wow.
So when I was in Japan, I was so much more comfortable going to Ikebukuro versus going to Akihabara
Mhm.
because I was so it just has that air of like you're saying. It also depends on what they throw at you. Would you want to, if you're a girl, if you're a girl, unless if you really like it, do you want to see all these chests, all these girls with boobies looking out
Yeah,
at you?
yeah,
Would you want to see certain things that you normally see in Japanese convention, in anime conventions, that you would say, oh, that's a boy thing, oh, that's a girl thing,
yeah.
kind of scenario? So Akihabara is really interesting also, but it's also they also what they were known for is the Sega. This you see over here, Sega. They have a building there. Sega Genesis is like it was originally a American. It was also originally a console system, like
Right.
Nintendo was, but then they went out of business. This became their last part of what they have. Well, the company was still active in Japan, but I think they recently Akihabara lost rights to display a building like this in Japan in Akihabara. It was a
Wow.
news. I kind of thought that wow was kind of it was
Yeah.
like they were there for 10 years, and so it was like really sad when they stopped putting it there. What else there's so much things to talk about. If
Yeah.
you're going to Akihabara, you have theme cafes like maid cafes. When like Ikebukuro has butler cafes,
Mhm.
Akihabara would have maid cafes, and they would have what is, I mean, technically you could get to see anywhere there's arcades, right?
Yeah.
You would get to see UFO catchers. I don't know if you guys know what you guys would definitely see UFO catchers, right?
Um, it's like they can be plushies and yeah, for things from Crane Game.
The crane game. Yep. So these.
Yeah. Which
I
we
remember
actually have things like that in Philadelphia at round what?
round
Round
one is a
one.
Japanese karaoke company that made
Yeah.
its way to the US. I remember going 9 hours in round one before when I
Oh
was in
wow.
Japan. So round one has a lot. Well, it's one of those things. So yeah, UFO catchers are really you get so many cute items with it. I remember spending $50 on a machine once in less than like 20 minutes. I spent $50,000. No, $50. At
Yeah,
least a
yeah.
hundred.
Because it's kind of addictive if you're not good at doing the claw. You want to say, "Oh, I just almost got it. Let me try again and again and
Yep.
again." So yeah, be careful
I
with
didn't
that.
and I didn't end up getting it. But if you are good, if you are actually, if you're female, right, and
Yeah,
you would actually ask for assistance, right, and you actually know Japanese, you could actually, if you're a girl, you actually ask the guy, they will actually open up the UFO catcher and they'll make it quote unquote easier for you to get a merchandise. So of course this is talking about something else. So that's what it is. So this is a website. This is a website that talks about tips. All right.
yeah,
So another area that I would definitely talk about is that you have to go to if this is your first time going to Japan is Shibuya.
yeah.
Shibuya has if you what is that game that Nintendo had? There was this one game that Nintendo had came out with. But Shibuya has an amazing, it's the most, when you look at Japan, this is what they would actually have, the Shibuya crossing.
Oh right, yeah. That crossing shows up in The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, among a number of others.
Another series, yeah, among
Yeah,
another things. So
yeah,
they also have the Hachiko statue, which is
yeah,
right outside of the Shibuya station. Hachiko is a Japanese tale of a dog that was faithful to his owner who died, and then he waited for his owner for 10 years until he died.
yeah. He would, when his owner was alive, would come to the station to wait for him to come off the train, and then even
Mm-hmm,
after he would come to the station, or she, I
mm-hmm,
forget if it was a she.
mm-hmm. Also,
Um,
Shibuya is really close to, is walkable. It's an afternoon walkable thing from Shinjuku and Harajuku.
yeah.
It's really to walk to from there.
Oh, Harajuku is the place where people do a lot of Gothic Lolita. type.
They do.
Yeah.
But they have a store there, but they have a neighborhood there, right? But it is getting a little bit too much traffic. I've seen there's been like issues where it has been overcrowded to the point where the police officers have to come and close the street because
Oh my
people.
gosh.
But I have seen a lot of, what's up?
I was going to say that Shibuya, there's an anime series from a few years back called Gals or Super Gals. And that's centered around Shibuya and the gal culture, which is people who, maybe you could describe gal culture better than I could.
Gal culture is kind of like, it's kind of not around. Well, it is sometimes around, but it's like schoolgirls, high school girls.
Yeah.
They would have suntan, and then they would actually dye their hair blonde.
Yeah.
And then they will, roll down their socks. Because usually you don't see people roll down their socks.
Yeah.
Or up their skirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And and they have their own vocabulary and things like that.
Yes, they do.
So
it's like shorthand.
Yeah. Sort of like Valley Girls in a sense.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me. Ikebukuro was also the setting for Durarara. I don't know if you've seen that one. Huh, okay.
I have not seen it, but I saw that it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So that's Shibuya. And I would definitely also want to talk a little bit about Tokyo Big Sight, all right?
Yeah.
Tokyo Big Sight. This is where Comiket is. Comiket is held twice a year. There's the summer Comiket, which is Natsuket, and there's the winter Comiket, not Furuket. Yeah, Furuket. Mm-hmm. So this is a convention. This is free for people to go to, but it's 500,000 people. Estimate 500,000 people to go.
Body surfing.
Body surfing, and I'm not kidding. You have to have a strategy in going to Comiket. I'm not kidding, because it will definitely overwhelm you.
Yeah.
I waited like 7 hours once in the blistering heat. Last time I went, I was so out of it.
Yeah.
So Comiket 2 years ago was actually going to be closed. Big Sight was actually going to be used for Olympics. So that's why they said they're going to move Comiket to another area in Japan. Comiket also has a very iconic image with the two upside down pyramids. You would see it in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Oh, I'll have to take a look.
And Wotakoi, and whenever you see characters talk about they're going to a place to sell their dojins or something like that, these are all in slice of life ideas. They're most likely referring to Comiket.
Yeah.
So they have all these circles. So as you can see, the line intensity is just no joke. Yeah. Japanese people will wait on lines. I'm not kidding. They will wait on lines for everything. Yeah. I was in Shinjuku, and I saw that they had for one of the stores Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme? They had a Krispy Kreme in Japan, right? There was a huge barriers, line mechanism barriers, all right?
Oh my goodness.
So every single day they will have people waiting on lines. But also one thing about why people like to go to Summer Comiket is because you get to see lots of cosplayers in very skimpy outfits, by the way. Yeah. Or like this. You get to see a lot of lots of different people would cosplay.
Yeah. Haruhi.
So as you can see. So this is over here. This is the iconic two pyramid things. All right.
Interesting.
So this is the Tokyo Metro. The card for the Pasmo is the Tokyo Metro subway card.
Oh, babies.
But yeah, I'm not telling. It's sometimes it's 18 plus. It's mostly Comiket is seen as a teenage to adult hobby thing.
Yeah.
So let's see. I definitely would talk about cafes, theme cafes. I mentioned briefly about maid and butler cafes. Did you guys know that there's a lot of different theme cafes? Theme cafes also encompasses animal, like cat cafes, owl cafes, but there's also cafes just like this, where you could actually go and you could actually get different products. They actually do have One Piece cafes. They have Gundam cafes. They have Rama One Half cafes.
Oh my goodness.
They had Cardcaptor Sakura cafe. So this is one of the ways that you have a
How
cafe.
pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So anytime you, but the thing is that those are all limited.
Alice in Wonderland Cafe.
Alice in Wonderland cafe, yeah. Maid cafes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Cute merchandise, right? This is a parfait.
Yeah.
And there's a robot cafe.
Ooh.
And there's also one cafe where you can actually go and fish your own food. Fish your own food, and that way you could have it here. Although this looks like fugu.
That's just not right.
You think so? That's not right? Wow.
Well, no, as a vegetarian.
But the thing about Japanese culture is that they love fish.
Yeah.
Seafood.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
This is a prison-themed cafe. Capcom, you know Capcom, the video game company. And then there's the ninja cafe, where ninjas are like the waiting staff, and they'll come over and they'll serve you like ninja goods and all that stuff. So Alcatraz, this is, Alcatraz is a Japanese a prison in California.
Yeah.
So they have an Alcatraz themed one. So let's see, this is one unique a list of unique stuff, right?
Yeah.
This statue is in Odaiba. Yeah. It's really close to where Kamiket is, all right? Kamiket is in Yokohama. This area is known as Yokohama. Yeah. And so this is really close by to the Gundam statue is in Odaiba. Actually, no, Odaiba is the area where Kamiket is, but right next to it, like a subway station away, is the Odaiba Diver City, where they have the Gundam cafe there. And this life-size, I don't know how many feet is it, statue of Gundam. If you're really interested in Gundam. Yeah. It's really tall. You see the size of the building, and then this thing is outside. Yeah. This is the old statue I saw when I was in Japan. But they just released the new unicorn Gundam thing.
I see.
So there's that. And then if you ever want to look at it, if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, I'm not kidding. There's a museum in Japan. Originally, my tip was, my trick was to go and buy the ticket from Lawson. Lawson has a machine you could buy day of tickets. But last time I went, it was already sold out. By the time I thought about it, it was already sold out. So one of the best things about Studio Ghibli Museum, other than going and go nuts with seeing movies, Ghibli movie merch, remnants of it, is the fact that they show original short films that you will not see anywhere in the world. So you see in this one, there's one of its My Neighbor Totoro sequel.
Oh, wow.
So these are 9-minute shorts, by the way.
Yeah, very cool.
And last time I saw Puyo Puyo. Their cells was like a room size, because Studio Ghibli's hand-drawn animation. So all of their cells and works took an entire room. It was really impressive. So another thing I definitely do have to recommend if you're a manga buyer, right? Manga reader, right? Yeah. These places are good places to go to. Mandarake and, okay, hold up. I think I might be running out of time. I don't even know.
Yeah, we're at 11:37.
So, Mandarake, this is a used bookstore. Used animation bookstore. So use merchandise, use everything. Yeah. Everything's secondhand. All right.
Oh, I didn't realize that about Mandarake.
Mandarake is also their main store is in Nakano. That's where Nakano is a neighborhood that's closest to Shinjuku. So once you get to Shinjuku, you transfer to another train line. Then you get over to Nakano, and that's where the main area, the main flagship store is. All right. Yeah. There is Mandarake in Ikebukuro and in Akihabara and in Shibuya. There are all those other stores, but this is the place where you could definitely go see it. All right. So as you can see, this is the address, how you get to it, what their business. When I mentioned 12 o'clock to 8 p.m., I was here at like 9 a.m.
Oh dear.
So you could actually, so this is a floor guide. So you could actually go through, it's like a three-floor shopping area.
Wow.
And the basement is where you get food items.
Nice.
So Book Off is another area that you would be able to buy anime merchandise and manga merchandise secondhand used. So it's cheaper than what you want to buy it new.
And they have a store in New York City, actually.
They do on 45th Street between 6th and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, I know about that place a lot. So they do sell a lot. And so across the street from it is Kinokuniya. But this one, you definitely hear the Django's for it. People know about this all the time, all right? Another place, if you ever want to do anything current, is Animate. Oh wait, whoops. Where's my? You guys actually saw what I was staring at earlier. Shoot.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And you guys just saw a lot of my other screens. Okay, so this is Animate is a place where you actually get all the new merchandise. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to close this part.
Looks like you can get UFO captures without having to invest in trying to catch them.
Actually, they would have these mystery boxes.
Oh.
And so a lot of it is, these are all the upcoming, the most current stuff. So what you can get here is goods, figures, CDs, drama CDs, albums, bonuses. As you can see, way more about it than ever. What else can I quash in? So I wanted to talk about, here. I think, oh my. Stamp rallies.
Yeah.
Was that an activity you wanted to do?
Well, it might be interesting to talk about. Do you think we have enough that we should do the next session also on Japan?
We could do that.
I think that might be a good idea.
Okay. Because I still have a lot. There's still a lot of things to talk about. Oh my gosh. We only made to half of it. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm so glad to have somebody here who has actually been there as an otaku. So yeah, so it's great. Yeah, I think we'll be back with more info and opinions, and on my part, more dreams of where I want to go. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Well, we'll see if our one participant wants to chat with us, but that will be after the recording. So matane.
Matane.